No, it's been good. I got here late last night, and we were up early this morning. I think we were up at 6 this morning. Took us a bit quicker than we thought to get to the ground, only about 20 minutes. We were expecting about an hour and a half. But good to meet some of the players. Not everybody's here. Good to meet the support staff that's here. Mario's been working with the boys for a few days. And good to see the boys sweating there a bit this morning. I think it's their second session of running. So good to finally get here and start working with the guys. Look, I think because I've worked with a lot of different levels of cricket, from under 15 to under 17 to domestic cricket to international cricket, I think I'm very aware of how important feeder systems are. The systems below the national side, because ultimately that's where your base of player needs to come from. That's where your next tier of player needs to come from. So I think I want to place a lot of emphasis on monitoring the players just beneath the national side. And when there are opportunities to play some of those players, you need to take those opportunities. And it can't be for 1 or 2 games, but you need to try and give players a little bit of a run, young players especially, so that they can find their feet in international cricket. So I think the gist of the presentation was, guys, we've got a good national side here, but we need to make sure that we're developing the players just under the national side to sustain the success of Bangladesh cricket. I think it's my 7th time I've been to Bangladesh. The first time I was here was an under-19 World Cup in 2004, which is a long time ago. And the thing that always strikes me is exactly this, the number of people that are interested in Bangladesh cricket. I'm from South Africa, where if we get to a press conference for a big South African game, there may be 8 or 9 reporters. I've never seen as many reporters as in my life. I got to the airport yesterday, there were 100. We couldn't drive the car because there were so many cameramen in front of the car. It was crazy. So the passion has always struck me in Bangladesh cricket. I mean, you always see people dressed up in tiger suits next to the field, and the way the supporters go about supporting the team. There's definitely a massive passion for cricket in this particular region, and that's probably what attracted me to this part of the world. I don't think they're a bad team because they've lost to Sri Lanka. If we're really honest with ourselves, and I've been there as an international coach, touring straight after a World Cup is always going to be hard. Sri Lanka probably had a bit more to gain from it. They had a few players leaving. It was Lathik's last game. Kulasekara was given a farewell, so they had a bit more to prove. Whereas Bangladeshi players, from watching from the outside, had just come off a long World Cup and maybe needed more of a break than they did need to play. So I wouldn't read too much into the Sri Lankan series. Based on the World Cup performances, I thought they actually played really well. They were really close to winning some of the games that they lost. You think of the game against New Zealand, where there was maybe a missed run out that possibly cost them the game. So I don't think they're that far off. The margins between winning and losing at international cricket are minimal. So I think the team is really close to becoming a real force in world cricket. If they can just make the right decisions at the right times, on the right days, I really don't think they're very far off other sides at the moment. Look, the log will say that they ended in 7th. I think it was 7th or 8th? 7th or 8th. I think they played better than that. And I've been in international cricket long enough to know that sometimes the results can hinge on a decision here and there. So it's not always a fair reflection of where you are as a team. So I think there were a lot of positives to come out of that World Cup that they can build on going forward for sure. There's a lot of areas they can improve in. But there were a lot of positives that they can take out of that World Cup campaign. And I can only comment being with South Africa, and I've been the head coach of South Africa for 5 years, and there's a lot of expectation when South Africa play. The people look at South Africa to be one of the teams to beat, and it's no different coming to Bangladesh. So I'm sort of used to that expectation and that pressure. So I'm looking forward to it. I was just saying to him today that I haven't been with a team for 2 years. I've been doing the South African A side, and we travel maybe once a year. And I'm really excited to get going again and work with people and work on cricket and think about selection and strategies. Because once you're away from it, which has been great for me for 2 years to get away from it and take a step back, you do miss it. So even although there's a lot of you, I'm actually quite enjoying it. It's actually quite good. So I am really looking forward to it. And as coaches, we thrive on that type of pressure. We enjoy it. No matter which team you're coaching, there's always some sort of pressure to win. But that's why we do it, because there's pressure to it. If we knew we were going to win every single game, it'd be the most boring job in the world. So that's the enjoyment. The most enjoyable part of it is the pressure that you're going to come under. My immediate goal is to just make some sort of connection with the players, get to understand the players, build some relationships over the next week or two, I think that's massively important. Try and gain the players' trust, see how the players go about their work. So it's very much an observatory role in the next couple of days to just see how they go about their business and try and take some learning from that. It's a long time, eh? So it's hard to get any sort of rhythm in your test match cricket when you're not playing that many test matches. So I think with the new test championship, that allows the team to focus a lot more on test match cricket. We know often Bangladesh play 1 or 2 test match series. Hopefully now there'll be 3 test match series, 4 test match series, which gets them more into that format of the game, because so much focus is on white ball cricket. With the test championship now, a lot of that focus needs to move away from the World Cup and the 50 over format into test match cricket. So for starters, that'll be a good start to put a lot of emphasis and focus on our red ball skills going into the next couple of months. It's a massive opportunity for the Bangladesh cricket team to compete regularly in test match cricket. Like I say, the last test match was maybe 6 months ago. We can hardly even remember when it was. So now they will play us an even amount of test match cricket compared to other teams, which will only benefit them. The more you play, the better you're going to become at the format. And that's probably where they've been lacking, that they haven't played a lot of test match cricket. You think of the amount of games Australia, England, India play, and you count those test matches up against what Bangladesh have played, you can understand why they're 3 of the leading sides in the world in that format.
Yeah, no, that's a challenge. When I coached at Afghanistan as well, that was a challenge. And if you can rectify that, if you can strike with the new ball, I think it will make it a lot easier for your spinners, and you will compete a lot more in 50 over test cricket. I just think it could be a small thing, a technical thing. If you look at Fez, he's a type of guy, he can swing the ball, he's a left-hander. So that's the type of things. If it's a technical or it's a tactical thing, the new ball is important in one-day cricket, even in test cricket, especially in these conditions. And as I said, the test for me is going to be to find seamers that can bowl outside Bangladesh, that can bowl in conditions in South Africa, Australia. Because if you look at India now, they've got 3 seamers, and they can win games in South Africa or in Australia. So we have to find somehow seamers, so when we go abroad and play in those conditions, we can compete. It's difficult if a guy is not tall enough. I know Tuscan is quite tall. If he's not injured and he's fit to play, that's maybe someone because he gets extra bounce. But swing bowling, that was my forte, so I could assist the guy in that terms where I can help him to swing the ball. If he's not swinging it, he needs to be consistent. And me, consistent, aggressive in line and length, that's the key. Courtney Wells, he was a great bowler, but that's the type of thing. I'm not looking. I got a different philosophy when it comes to coaching. Mine is different. It's more skills work. I can help him with all kind of stuff. And if a guy don't have bounce, it's difficult to get the bounce out if he's not tall enough. I've always believed in it. But world cricket has changed so much, because if you miss your Yorker, you can go for 6. But I still believe as a bowling coach that's a go-to ball. If you can land your Yorker and you're good under pressure to land the Yorker, it's still a good ball to have. And it's one of those things, you have to train it. You have to bowl. After practice, you have to put in the work. So you have to bowl extra 20 balls just to work on your Yorkers, because I always say to the bowler, you need to be able, once you're under pressure, to bowl your Yorker. Then you've got guys that got different skills. But I always say, if you've got a good change of pace, you need to be able to back that up with a good Yorker or a bouncer. But the Yorker is the go-to ball for me. It's a challenge which I had of Afghanistan, and we got the interpreter. But I found, if you work one-on-one with the player tend to open up more than in a group situation. So I experienced that in Afghanistan, where a player would say yes, but he wouldn't understand. So I've experienced it. So now I kind of know how to deal with it, is to work one-on-one with the player, make sure if he doesn't understand, get someone to explain to him, and just slow it down, don't speak too fast, listen more to what he's got to say, and then try and build a relationship. It's important that you build a relationship with your fast bowlers or the people you work with. So even if it's just to speak about his family, how he is, makes him more comfortable, and then kind of you understand we're on the same level. So he is welcome to come to my room or say, Shaw, you know, I don't understand what you're saying. Can we get an interpreter? And that will help. So I know it's a challenge, but it's something I'm looking forward to. For me, it's always competition. So I'm going to look, as Russell said, we're going to look at some sort of seamers or did well, some of the under-19 guys. And it's all about creating an environment where you're competing. So if there's competition, it will lift the guy that's in the position. But it's also, as you said, I need to develop the guys that are already there. Take him to the next level, take him out the comfort zone, and take him to the next level. It's a difficult one. It's like me telling the coach, well, we need to play 3 seamers. We're going to play on a green wicket, which we all understand is not going to happen in subcontinent conditions. But all you can do is just try to improve them, work with them in the nets. Simple ways, the basic, being able to be consistent in line and length, and that's the type of things. You can't change things. Subcontinent is going to be like it. You don't find they'll play with 3 seamers in the test. So it is a challenge, but it's a good challenge. I always say these challenges, it's as a coach, that's what you're looking for. If you can bring the next Mustafas out or a next Tuscan, a younger guy, and that is the type of thing you need to do as a coach. You need to find a way how you're going to bring him in, how you're going to coach him, and work on that. Not real expectations. I want him to do well, so I'm not going to expect him to just all of a sudden change their work rate. It's for me. I need to change, as I also said, to change with the culture. It's for me to find a way to bring the best out of them. And that is going to be the challenge for me, is to find a way so I can go out there, encourage them to do well. And it's just one of those things, is I can't just come and say, okay, you need to do this, you need to do extra fitness. No, you need to understand what they want, what they need, what their shortcomings are. And that's going to be, as I said, the challenge is to find that way and try and improve them in that way.